podcast and YouTube, we discuss the divine feminine, Heavenly Mother, as we find her in the scriptures, the priesthood as it relates to both men and women, and the temple. It's important to remember that this is not an endorsed channel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The thoughts I share here are personal, stemming from my own experiences, opinions, and research. I speak as an endowed, temple-worthy woman who researches and is dedicated to following Jesus Christ and honoring my covenants. With that, let's begin. So this episode is a follow-up to episode 49, Seeking Mother, Finding Wisdom. I'll have a link to that episode in the show notes. Now, the most beautiful, intimate, and tender verses about wisdom and the creation are in Proverbs chapter 8. These are verses 22 through 34. Let me just read those for you. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth, when there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. The Hebrew word used in these verses that are translated as blessed comes from the same root as Asherah. So it's Asher, A-S-H-R-E. That's the Hebrew word for blessed. It can also mean happy. So not only blessed are they that keep my ways, happy are they that keep my ways. English translations do not do adequate justice to or for the older and original context of the scriptures. A literal translation of verses 27 through 29 reads, when he engraved a circle on the face of the deep, when he set down for the sea its engraved mark, when he engraved the foundations of the earth. So all of the words engraved are derived from the Hebrew HQ. Notice how this translation deepens the meaning, the importance, the significance of the creation. There was a great significance to the Deuteronomists having their statues carved in stone. The Ten Commandments, for instance, were written or carved into tablets of stone. The underlying meaning of the Hebrew word for statue, Q, comes from the root engrave or carve. Margaret Barker writes, in the older system, the statutes were the great laws of creation, the rules for the elements, and they were engraved in eternity. Just to talk a little bit about this word engraved, these verses with an updated translation also lends to the tremendous power of Elohim. Listen to the imagery expressed in these other scriptures. Verse 29, he engraved a circle on the face of the waters at the boundary of light and darkness. In Job 26:10, he made the engravings for the rain. Job 28:26, he set a statute for the sea so that it stayed within its limits. Job 38:10, he set the sand as an eternal statute which the sea could not pass. Jeremiah 5:22, he established the host of heaven and gave them a statute that they could not pass. Psalms 148:6. So powerful, so beautiful. In verse 30, the Hebrew word used is Ammon, which means craftsman. This is spelled A-M-O-N. The Greek translated it to harmozousa, the woman who joins together, or the woman who maintains the harmony. In the last episode, we talked about the Hebrew words for mother that mean strong water. If you remember, in ancient Hebrew, in the original pictographic script, there are two letters or pictures, a symbol for ox and a symbol for water. The Hebrews made glue by boiling animal skins in water. As the skin broke down, a sticky liquid formed at the surface of the water. This thick liquid was removed and used as a binding agent. So they aptly named the substance strong water. This is the Hebrew word or words that they use to mean mother, the one who binds the family together. I think that's so powerful and poetic. Wisdom, mother, was beside him, binding all things together. So just for a moment, breathe that definition in. Our Heavenly Mother, as her part in the creation, binds all things together. We spoke of mother in episode 15 as a weaver. I'll link that one in the show notes as well, but let's look at other biblical translations of this verse. I was the architect at his side. I was his constant delight, rejoicing in his presence. It's a New Living Translation. Listen to the English Standard Version. Then I was beside him like a master workman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always. The Berean Standard Bible. Then I was a skilled craftsman at his side, and his delight day by day, rejoicing always in his presence. And the New King James Version is, then I was beside him as a master craftsman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. So I love these words, architect, master workman, skilled craftsman. What is also interesting is that this poem does not describe the physical, but rather the spiritual creation. Where else do we learn about that? If you are interested in learning more about this from a theological point of view, you can check out Margaret Barker's book, The Mother of the Lord, Volume 1. And this is on page 442. She talks about this spiritual creation. With this understanding of engraved, it gives us a new understanding, a new respect and meaning at Jesus's declaration. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. That's a border, a boundary that hell cannot pass, that mortality cannot erase. It's just amazing. So I also see additional poetic symbolism in verses 22 through 25 that should resonate with members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Let's read these again. The Lord possessed me in the beginning. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his ways, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water, before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. Now, poetically, it has been said, she is wisdom, the first creature of God. There's some people, some scholars who think, oh, well, this is just merely a personification of wisdom. You've read it. Read it again. Does that really sound like anything other than a partner with Heavenly Father? That the spiritual creation, there was a master craftsman, an architect with him to, in the spiritual creation of earth, of men. I don't think it's a personification, but she, Heavenly Mother, is the first creature of God. Now, this is where I find it really cool. How could Heavenly Mother be a creation of Heavenly Father? But listen to this. I think Heavenly Father is also a creation of Heavenly Mother. When a man and woman are sealed together through the patriarchal order, a priesthood order, they are now on the path to becoming gods if they are faithful, righteous, and obedient. When a woman begins to create children, relationships, worlds, etc., whatever is in her as a creator, she is in a sense finally born, brought forth into a state of motherhood, of godhood, etc. And I feel that this is what Proverbs is poetically stating. We gain wisdom when we enter the temple and enter into covenants. We learn more about the progression pattern that God has set out. Just as a man makes a woman a mother through procreation, a woman makes a man a father through the same process. Through her husband, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother became a full goddess by being able to create side by side with him. And the same goes for Heavenly Father. So I hope all of that makes sense. These verses are not just a personification of wisdom. They're about Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, about men and women, about the patriarchal order, and about our powerful potential of as children of deity, born with the ability to become deities ourselves. God cannot exist as male alone. God cannot create without the masculine in solitude. Mother is clearly emerging from the wilderness, and with her, her daughter's true identities. Thank you for joining me, and until the next time, have a divine day.